Leo, a single dad, and his son, Alex, just wanted to sell a few baseball cards to buy some new school shoes. They set up a tiny, unassuming table, hoping to make a quick buck. Little did they know, one customer, seemingly just another collector, was about to change their lives forever. He wasn't just buying cards. He was watching, listening, and taking notes, completely unbeknownst to them. Before we carry on, please hit the subscribe button to make my day, and let me know where you are watching from in the comments. The late August sun beat down on the cracked pavement of Elm Street, making the air shimmer above the blacktop. Leo Ramirez, a single dad of 35, ran a hand through his perpetually messy brown hair, adjusting the brim of his faded baseball cap. Beside him, perched on an overturned milk crate, sat his son, Alex, a whirlwind of boundless energy and 9-year-old wisdom, his own small cap askew on his head. Their store was a rickety card table borrowed from Mrs. Gable next door, strategically placed outside Mr. Henderson's corner store, a local landmark that buzzed with foot traffic. On the table, neatly arranged in plastic sleeves and cardboard boxes, lay their treasure, a modest collection of baseball cards. Not mint condition, highly valuable relics, but rather a mix of old childhood favorites, recent packs Alex had torn open with unbridled excitement, and a few slightly battered gems Leo had held on to ball. From his own youth, the dream was simple, tangible: new school shoes for Alex. His current pair, once vibrant blue, were now scuffed, torn, and stubbornly resisting another round of patching. "You remember the prices, buddy?" Leo asked, his voice a low rumble, trying to inject some enthusiasm into the sweltering afternoon. They'd spent the last hour memorizing values, debating player stats, and practicing their sales pitch. Alex, ever the eager salesman, nodded vigorously. "Yeah? The Mike Trout rookie is $10, the vintage Jackie Robinson reprint is $5, and the commons are 50 cents each, or 3 for $1. He recited the prices with the precision of a seasoned auctioneer, his bright blue eyes, so like his mother's, sparkling with determination. Leo smiled, a warmth spreading through his chest. Alex was a good kid, resilient and understanding, despite the challenges life had thrown their way since his mom, Maria, passed away 3 years ago. Money had been tighter than a drum since then. Leo worked 2 jobs, a morning shift at the local diner flipping pancakes, and an evening gig stocking shelves at a grocery store. It barely covered rent, utilities, and keeping food on the table. Luxuries, like new school shoes, often felt out of reach. This card-selling venture was a testament to their shared ingenuity, a father-son project born out of necessity, but fueled by hope. They'd tried yard sales before, with limited success. The baseball cards, though, felt different. They were a shared passion. Leo had introduced Alex to baseball early, to the crack of the bat, the smell of freshly cut grass, the intricate dance of strategy and athleticism. He'd taught him about legends like Babe Ruth and Hank Aaron, and about modern heroes like Mookie Betts and Shohei Ohtani. Their conversations, often stretching late into the night, were filled with statistics, legendary plays, and heartfelt debates about the greatest players of all time. This shared love for the game was their bedrock, their escape, their quiet joy. The first few hours at the card table were slow. A few curious passers-by glanced at their wares. A couple of young kids bought a handful of common cards, thrilled with their cheap treasures. The sun climbed higher, relentless. Alex fidgeted, his initial enthusiasm starting to wane. "Don't worry, buddy," Leo said, sensing his son's flagging spirits. "It's a marathon, not a sprint. Someone's bound to find their gem." Just as he spoke, a man approached their table. He was casually dressed in a crisp polo shirt and khaki shorts, perhaps in his early 40s, with kind eyes behind stylish glasses and a neatly trimmed beard. He carried a small, well-worn leather satchel slung over his shoulder. He didn't rush, but instead browsed their collection with a careful, almost scholarly attention. "Some nice pieces here," the man observed, his voice calm and pleasant, as he picked up a card featuring a young Derek Jeter. "Not often you see a kid appreciating the classics." He smiled at Alex. Alex, usually shy with strangers, puffed out his chest slightly. "My dad taught me everything about them," he announced proudly. "He says Jeter was a true professional, always clutch." The man's eyebrows raised in genuine amusement. "A true professional indeed. And clutch. Your dad's got good taste, son." He turned to Leo. "You a big baseball fan?" "Lifelong," Leo replied, a natural ease settling over him as he talked about his favorite subject. "Grew up watching the Yankees with my grandfather. Taught Alex everything I know, and probably more." The man chuckled. "I can tell. You've got quite the collection here. Anything rare or particularly interesting?" "Not museum quality, sir," Leo admitted, "but each one has a story. This '89 Ken Griffey Jr. rookie, for example." He pointed to a slightly worn card. "I pulled that myself back in the day. Thought it was going to make me rich. Ended up just being a reminder of a great era." He laughed, a genuine, easy sound. The man's eyes lingered on the Griffey card. A great era, indeed. Baseball was different then. More raw emotion, less analytics. Though I appreciate the strategy behind the modern game too. It's a fascinating evolution, isn't it? How the game adapts, yet its core remains the same. Leo found himself nodding. "Absolutely. You see guys like Ohtani now, doing things unheard of. But the fundamentals, the heart of the game, it's still about that one-on-one battle between pitcher and batter, the collective effort of a team." He gestured around the table. "These cards, they're not just paper and ink. They're snapshots of history, moments frozen in time. Each smudge, each crease, tells a story of a kid's excitement. A game watched, a memory made." The man listened intently, a thoughtful expression on his face. He picked up a few more cards, a vintage Willie Mays, a lesser-known but promising rookie. "You seem to know your stuff, not just the stats, but the soul of the game," he remarked, his gaze sharp and assessing. "It's rare to find that kind of passion, that depth of understanding, these days." He ended up buying a handful of cards, including the slightly worn Griffey Jr. rookie. He paid more than the asking price, a generous gesture that brought a surprised smile to Leo's face. "Keep the change," he said with a warm smile. "Consider it an investment in passion." As he turned to leave, he paused. "My name's David Hayes, by the way," he offered, extending a hand. "It was a real pleasure chatting with you, Leo. And you too, Alex. Keep that passion for the game alive." "You too, Mr. Hayes," Leo replied, shaking his hand, a sense of genuine connection lingering in the air. He watched David Hayes walk away, turn the corner, and disappear from sight. He was just a kind customer, an appreciative stranger. Leo had no idea that David Hayes was more than just a baseball enthusiast. He was a senior editor at Sports Spectacle, one of the most prestigious sports magazines in the country. He had no idea that the casual conversation, the depth of his knowledge, and the raw honesty of his passion had just sparked an idea that would change their lives forever. The new school shoes were just the beginning. The rest of the day at the card table passed uneventfully, but the encounter with David Hayes left a lasting impression on Leo. He couldn't shake the feeling of genuine connection, the ease with which he had discussed his lifelong passion. It wasn't often he met someone who understood the nuances of baseball beyond surface-level statistics, someone who appreciated the history and the heart of the game. "That Mr. Hayes was nice," Alex observed, as they packed up their cards, the setting sun casting long shadows down Elm Street. They hadn't sold enough for the new shoes yet, but they were closer. "He certainly was, buddy," Leo agreed, carefully placing the valuable cards back into their protective sleeves. "He really knew his baseball too, not just a casual fan." As they walked home, the weight of the card box heavy in Leo's arms, his mind kept replaying the conversation with David Hayes. He thought about David's comment. It's rare to find that kind of passion, that depth of understanding, these days. It was a simple compliment, but it resonated with Leo, touching a dormant pride in his knowledge, a quiet confidence he rarely had the chance to display outside of discussions with Alex. Life for Leo was a relentless cycle of work, parenting, and trying to keep their small household afloat. There was little time for leisure, less for intellectual pursuits beyond the practicalities of survival. His days were filled with the clatter of diner dishes, the drone of stocking shelves, and the endless list of domestic chores. Conversations about baseball, about history, about abstract concepts were a precious luxury, usually reserved for his quiet moments with Alex. That night, after Alex was asleep, nestled safely in his bed, Leo found himself restless. He pulled out an old, tattered baseball almanac from a dusty bookshelf, a relic from his youth. He flipped through the pages, the scent of old paper and fading ink filling his nostrils, transporting him back to simpler times, to afternoons spent poring over statistics with his own grandfather. He thought about the evolution of pitching, the golden age of sluggers, the controversies and triumphs that shaped the sport. His mind, usually preoccupied with bills and schedules, reveled in the intricate tapestry of baseball history. He often dreamed of a life where his passion for sports could be more than just a hobby, more than just a father-son bonding activity. He had a natural, analytical mind, an encyclopedic knowledge of baseball statistics, and a way of articulating complex strategies in an accessible manner. Friends and family often sought his opinions on games, on player trades, on the likelihood of a team making the playoffs. But a career in sports? That felt like a distant, impossible fantasy, a luxury reserved for those with fancy degrees and connections he simply didn't possess. The next week passed in its usual blur of work and routine. Alex's enthusiasm for the card selling hadn't waned, and they made plans to set up their table again the following weekend. The new school shoes were still a goal, a tangible symbol of their joint efforts. Then, one sunny Tuesday morning, as Leo nursed a lukewarm coffee during his break at the diner, he picked up a copy of Sports Spectacle. He rarely splurged on magazines, preferring to get his sports news online or through free local papers, but something compelled him to pick up this particular issue. He flipped through the glossy pages, admiring the vibrant photographs and incisive articles, a familiar pang of longing in his chest. Imagine being able to write about this all day, he thought. He turned a page, and his heart nearly stopped. There, on a 2-page spread, was a striking photograph. It was a picture of him and Alex, sitting at their rickety card table outside the corner store. Alex was holding up a baseball card, his face beaming, while Leo was smiling, gesturing animatedly as if mid-sentence. The angle was perfect, capturing the essence of their shared passion. Below the photograph, in bold, captivating letters, was the headline, "The Soul of the Game, a father-son duo keeping baseball's spirit alive on Elm Street." Leo's hands began to tremble as he read the article. It was beautifully written, an eloquent and heartfelt piece about their chance encounter with David Hayes. The author, none other than David Hayes himself, had captured their conversation with astonishing accuracy, quoting Leo's words about the cards being snapshots of history, moments frozen in time. He had painted a vivid picture of their small, earnest endeavor, contrasting it with the commercialized world of professional sports, highlighting the pure, unadulterated love for the game that radiated from their little burr. Table. The article spoke of Leo's encyclopedic knowledge and rare depth of understanding, praising his ability to articulate the nuances of baseball with genuine passion. It described Alex as a budding baseball historian and highlighted the touching reason behind their card selling. It wasn't just a simple feature, it was a powerful, moving profile, portraying them as accidental guardians of baseball's true essence. Leo read it once, then again, his mind reeling. David Hayes, the kind, unassuming man who had bought a few cards, was a senior editor at Sports Spectacle. The realization hit him with the force of a fastball. He had been so open, so candid, sharing his most intimate thoughts about the game, unaware that every word was being absorbed by a professional journalist. The initial shock slowly morphed into a dizzying wave of disbelief, then an overwhelming sense of gratitude. He quickly finished his coffee, his heart pounding with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. He had to show this to Alex. He had to process this monumental, life-altering event. An article in Sports Spectacle. This wasn't just about selling cards for shoes anymore. This was a spotlight, an unexpected validation of his lifelong passion, a window to a future he had only dared to dream of. The world, it seemed, was about to discover Leo and Alex Ramirez, and the soul of the game they so deeply cherished. The moment Leo walked through the door of their small apartment, sports spectacle clutched in his trembling hand, Alex was already halfway out of his room, drawn by the unusual energy radiating from his dad. "Dad, you're home early," he exclaimed, his eyes wide. Leo didn't say a word. He just held out the magazine, open to the 2-page spread. Alex's eyes, usually so quick to scan and comprehend, widened further as he recognized the photograph. His own face, beaming, his dad's familiar smile. He looked up at Leo, then back at the page, a slow dawning realization spreading across his features. "Dad," Alex whispered, his voice hushed with awe. That's us, in sports spectacle." Leo nodded, a lump forming in his throat. "It is, buddy. The man who bought the Griffey card, Mr. Hayes? He's an editor there. He wrote about us." Alex quickly devoured the article, his finger tracing the words, his excitement building with every paragraph. When he finished, he looked up at Leo, his eyes shining with a mixture of pride and disbelief. "He called you encyclopedic knowledge and soul of the game. Dad, this is amazing. We're famous." The next few days were a blur of unexpected attention. The article, circulating far beyond the diner and the corner store, seemed to resonate deeply with readers. Their story, a heartwarming tale of a single father, a dedicated son, and their shared passion for baseball, struck a chord. The phone, which usually only rang for work calls or bill reminders, began to ring almost incessantly. The first calls were from local media outlets, the Town Gazette, a regional TV news channel, and a couple of radio stations. They all wanted interviews. Leo, usually private and unassuming, found himself thrust into the spotlight. He spoke about his love for Alex, their bond over baseball, and the simple dream of new shoes. He reiterated his passion for the history and nuances of the game, always crediting Alex as his co-conspirator in this unexpected adventure. Alex, surprisingly articulate and charming, was a natural on camera, reiterating his dad's knowledge and their shared goal. Then, the more significant calls started coming in. The first was from a small publishing house, interested in Leo writing a book about the history of baseball through the lens of iconic cards. Leo, who had never considered himself a writer, was dumbfounded. He stammered through the conversation, promising to consider it, his mind racing with the impossibility and the thrilling possibility of such an endeavor. A few days later, a representative from a major sports memorabilia company called, expressing interest in sponsoring Alex's burgeoning card collection and potentially collaborating on a line of purpuree. Classic baseball moments, trading cards, featuring Leo's insights and Alex's youthful perspective. This was beyond anything they could have imagined. The most unexpected call, however, came from a major sports broadcasting network. They had seen the sports spectacle article and the subsequent local news coverage. They were looking for fresh voices, unique perspectives for their online content, specifically for a segment focused on baseball history and analysis. They were impressed by Leo's deep knowledge and his approachable, relatable way of explaining complex aspects of the game. Would he be interested in a trial run, perhaps a series of short online videos? Leo was floored. A job in sports media? It was literally the dream he had pushed to the farthest corners of his mind, deemed impossible. He felt a surge of exhilaration, mixed with a healthy dose of fear. Could he do it? Could he transition from flipping pancakes to analyzing baseball for a national audience? He discussed everything with Alex, who, despite his young age, offered surprisingly insightful advice. "Dad, you know everything about baseball. You'd be great. And then we wouldn't have to sell cards for my shoes, right?" The shoes. In the whirlwind of media attention and unexpected offers, the original goal had almost faded into the background. But it was a stark reminder of where they had come from and the desperate need that had pushed them to that card table. Leo decided to take the leap. He scheduled meetings, navigating the unfamiliar world of agents, contracts, and media proposals. He was nervous, but the support from Alex, and the unwavering belief he saw in David Hayes' article propelled him forward. David, in fact, reached out personally, congratulating Leo and offering his mentorship, genuinely thrilled to see the impact of his piece. The first video Leo produced for the Sports Network was a brief segment on the evolution of baseball card collecting, blending historical facts with personal anecdotes. He spoke with a natural enthusiasm, his deep knowledge shining through, making the often niche subject matter engaging for a wider audience. The video quickly went viral, praised for its authenticity and Leo's refreshing perspective. The response was overwhelming. Job offers began to solidify. The Sports Network offered him a regular contributor position for their digital platform, with the potential to expand to television. The publishing house offered a book deal, complete with an advance that would secure their financial future for years. The memorabilia company proposed a generous partnership, keen to leverage Leo's newfound popularity and Alex's infectious enthusiasm. Financially, their lives transformed dramatically. The advance from the book deal, coupled with Leo's new salary from the Sports Network and the income from the memorabilia partnership, meant an end to the constant worry about bills. They moved out of their small, cramped apartment into a slightly larger home, still within the same friendly neighborhood, but with a small backyard where Alex could practice his pitching and Leo could have a dedicated home office. Luxuries, once unimaginable, became attainable: a reliable car, healthier groceries, and most importantly, the security of knowing their future was stable. But beyond the material comforts, the biggest change was in their quality of life. Leo no longer worked two grueling jobs. He had more time, precious, unhurried time, to spend with Alex. They went to more baseball games, not just local ones, but professional games, sitting in real stadium seats, soaking in the atmosphere. They spent evenings talking, laughing, planning new segments for Card Chronicle, and brainstorming ideas for the book. Their shared passion, once a quiet solace, had now become the foundation of their new life. David Hayes remained a mentor and a friend. He frequently called Leo, offering advice, connecting him with influential figures in the sports world, and genuinely celebrating his success. "I knew you had something special, Leo," David would say, his voice warm with satisfaction. "It wasn't just the knowledge, it was the authenticity, the heart you bring to the game. That's what people connect with." Leo also made sure to give back to the community that had supported them. He organized local baseball card trading events for kids, often setting up a larger, more polished version of their original corner store table. He spoke at local schools about the importance of pursuing one's passions and the power of unexpected opportunities. Alex, a natural and confident speaker, often joined him, sharing his own journey from wanting new shoes to becoming a mini celebrity in the collecting world. One afternoon, almost a year and a half after that fateful day at the card table, Leo found himself at a major sports convention, signing copies of his recently published book. The line stretched around the corner, a testament to the book's critical acclaim and commercial success. Alex, now older and even more confident, sat beside him, signing his small "Alex's" section in each book. A familiar voice cut through the hum of the crowd. "Leo! Alex!" It was David Hayes, beaming, making his way through the line. He shook Leo's hand warmly, then clapped Alex on the shoulder. "Look at you two," David said, his eyes alight with pride. "From a quarter-store sidewalk to a national bestseller and a hit show. It's truly remarkable. We owe it all to you, David," Leo said, genuinely heartfelt. "You saw something in us no one else did." David smiled. "I just saw a good story, Leo, and a lot of untapped potential. You did the rest." As they talked, a young boy approached their table, clutching a well-worn copy of Diamond Dust. He had a shy smile and eager eyes. "Mr. Ramirez," he stammered, "I just wanted to say, your book made me want to start collecting cards. And I watch all your videos. You make baseball history really cool." Leo's heart swelled. This was it. This was the true reward. Not the money, not the fame, but the connection, the inspiration, the continuation of the passion he held so dear. He signed the boy's book, adding a personal message about chasing dreams. Later that evening, After the convention, Leo and Alex were flying home, comfortably settled in first class, a stark contrast to the bus rides and old car trips of their past. Alex was asleep in the seat beside him, a baseball card still clutched loosely in his hand. Leo looked out the window at the twinkling city lights below. He thought about that scorching afternoon by the corner store, the desperate hope for a few dollars for shoes. He thought about David Hayes, the unassuming man who saw something more. He thought about all the moments that had led them to this improbable, wonderful life. It wasn't a fairy tale, but it was their story, unique and truly earned. They were no longer just a single dad and his boy trying to make ends meet. They were storytellers, historians, and most importantly, a family whose shared love for a game had opened up a whole new world of possibilities. Their journey had just begun, and the diamond dust of destiny had truly sprinkled its magic on their lives. The success of Diamond Dust was phenomenal. It resonated not just with avid baseball fans, but with anyone who appreciated a story of passion, perseverance, and the unexpected twists of fate. The book became a national bestseller, attracting praise from literary critics and sports journalists alike. Leo's ability to weave intricate historical details with compelling narratives, all filtered through his personal anecdotes and genuine love for the game, was lauded as a refreshing approach. He started receiving invitations to speak at universities, at sports conferences, and even at Major League Baseball events. He was no longer just a voice, but a respected authority in the baseball world. Card Chronicle, the online video series, continued to thrive. Its viewership grew exponentially, leading the sports network to invest further in its production. They built a dedicated studio for Leo, complete with sophisticated graphics and a vast collection of historical baseball memorabilia for props. The short, engaging videos evolved into longer-form documentaries and special features. Leo even had the opportunity to interview some of his childhood heroes, an experience that left him feeling both starstruck and profoundly grateful. He still maintained his approachable, down-to-earth demeanor, which viewers found endearing. He was the everyman who made it big, but never forgot where he came from. Alex, now 10, continued to be an integral part of Leo's journey. He was a regular guest on Card Chronicle, offering his youthful perspective and often challenging his dad with quirky baseball trivia. Their banter was a fan favorite, highlighting their strong father-son bond. Alex's own baseball card collection flourished, not just in terms of value, but in its depth and historical significance. The memorabilia company even created a special Alex's Picks series, featuring cards hand-selected by Alex with his own unique commentary. His once shabby shoes were a distant memory, replaced by a rotation of the latest, coolest sneakers, a tangible symbol of their transformation. Life had settled into a rhythm that felt both exhilarating and wonderfully normal. Weekdays were filled with Leo's media commitments, writing, and researching. Weekends were reserved for Alex's Little League games, trips to local card shows, and quiet family time. Leo even started dating again, cautiously, testing the waters of a personal life beyond his responsibilities as a father and his demanding new career. He met Sarah, a kind and insightful art teacher, at a local charity event. She was genuinely interested in his work and, more importantly, in him and Alex. Their relationship developed slowly, built on mutual respect and shared laughter, a gentle reminder that life, even after profound loss, could still hold new beginnings. The financial security they now enjoyed allowed Leo to make choices he never thought possible. He established a small foundation in Maria's name, dedicated to supporting single-parent households in their community, offering grants for educational supplies, extracurricular activities, and, yes, even new school shoes. It was his way of honoring Maria's memory and giving back to the community that had quietly supported them through their leanest years. He never forgot the desperation that had driven them to that card table, and he was determined to ensure other families had a slightly easier path. One day, almost 2 years after the Sports Spectacle article, Leo received an unexpected email. It was from the editor-in-chief of Sports Spectacle, a prestigious and powerful figure in the world of sports journalism. The subject line read, "An opportunity." Leo's heart quickened. The email outlined a new venture the magazine was undertaking, a weekly podcast, Diamond Insights, that would delve into deeper, more analytical discussions about current baseball trends, historical parallels, and the broader cultural impact of the game. They were looking for a co-host, someone with a unique voice, deep knowledge, and the ability to connect with a diverse audience. And they believed Leo was the perfect fit. His co-host would be none other than David Hayes. The continued success of Diamond Insights propelled Leo and David Hayes into a new echelon of sports commentary. Their weekly podcast became a must-listen for both casual fans and seasoned analysts, frequently topping the charts in sports categories. Their discussions evolved beyond just card history, venturing into current player analyses, trade deadline predictions, and even the economics of professional sports. All delivered with Leo's signature blend of informed opinion and relatable enthusiasm. The podcast's popularity led to spin-off opportunities, including live recording events at Major League ballparks and fan conventions, where Leo and David would engage directly with their growing audience. Expanding horizons and personal growth, Leo's personal life also flourished amidst his professional ascent. Sarah, his girlfriend, became an increasingly important part of his and Alex's lives. Her calm presence and genuine affection provided a grounding force amidst the whirlwind of Leo's burgeoning career. She was incredibly supportive of his work, often attending live podcast recordings and offering insightful feedback. More importantly, she connected deeply with Alex, sharing his love for art and encouraging his creative pursuits, which now included designing custom baseball card artwork. Their relationship progressed naturally, built on a foundation of shared values and a deep mutual respect. The move to New York City opened up a world of opportunities for Alex as well. He joined a competitive youth baseball league, honing his skills on the diamond. His interest in card collecting deepened, evolving from a childhood hobby into a serious pursuit. He developed an uncanny knack for identifying undervalued cards and understanding market trends, a skill Leo proudly attributed to his son's innate intelligence and shared passion. Alex even started a small online presence, sharing his card collection and insights, building his own following among young collectors. Leo's commitment to giving back to the community never wavered. The foundation in Maria's name, initially modest, grew significantly with his increased income and public platform. They partnered with national charities focused on supporting single-parent families, expanding their reach beyond their old neighborhood. Leo made sure that a portion of every book sale and every major endorsement deal went directly to the foundation, ensuring its long-term sustainability. He believed deeply in the principle that those who had received unexpected blessings had a responsibility to pay it forward. The relationship with the mayor of their old hometown, who occasionally reached out for advice on community initiatives, became a pleasant, low-key connection, a reminder of the origins of their success. The corner store on Elm Street, where their journey began, even put up a small plaque commemorating the original baseball card table, a charming testament to their unexpected fame. Full circle moment, one spring afternoon, approximately 3 years after the initial sports spectacle article, Leo found himself sitting in the very same office building where David Hayes had his editorial workspace. Only this time, Leo wasn't visiting. He was being offered a new role, senior correspondent for Sports Spectacle. This position would involve writing major feature articles for the magazine, leading investigative pieces, and making regular television appearances on the network's flagship sports shows. It was a culmination of his dreams, a testament to his talent and hard work. The meeting was exhilarating, but also humbling. Leo thought back to the countless hours spent flipping pancakes and stocking shelves, the quiet desperation for new school shoes, and the simple act of setting up a card table with his son. He remembered the feeling of disbelief when he first saw their photo and story in Sports Spectacle. Now, he was being offered a position at the pinnacle of sports journalism. He accepted the offer. The Diamond Insights podcast would continue, with both him and David Hayes as co-hosts, but his new role at the magazine represented a significant expansion of his responsibilities and influence. The news of Leo's promotion was met with widespread acclaim within the sports media world. He was seen as a refreshing voice, a relatable figure who brought authenticity and heart to a sometimes jaded industry. His journey from an ordinary life to extraordinary success resonated deeply with the public. The legacy of the card table years passed, and Leo Ramirez became a household name in sports journalism. His articles were insightful, his commentary respected, and his passion for baseball remained undimmed. Card Chronicle continued as a beloved online series, and the Ramirez Legacy card line remained a popular collectible. Alex, now a young man, pursued his own passions, attending college to study sports management and continuing his deep dive into the world of baseball card collecting, often collaborating with his father on special projects. Their bond, forged over baseball cards and shared dreams, remained as strong as ever. Leo eventually married Sarah in a beautiful, intimate ceremony that included Alex as his proud best man. Their life together was rich and fulfilling, a testament to the power of love, family, and second chances. One sunny Saturday, years later, Leo found himself back on Elm Street, walking with Alex. The corner store was still there, a little older, but still a neighborhood hub. They paused by the spot where their rickety card table once stood. The small plaque, now slightly weathered, read, "The original baseball card table, where a dream began. Leo Alex Ramirez. It all started here, Dad," Alex mused, looking at the plaque, a thoughtful smile on his face. Just two guys trying to sell some cards for shoes. Leo put an arm around his son's shoulder, a wave of profound gratitude washing over him. "It did, buddy. And it taught us that sometimes the biggest opportunities come from the smallest beginnings, and that genuine passion, combined with a little bit of luck and a kind stranger, can truly change everything." He looked at the plaque, then at his son, then down the bustling street. The sounds of children playing, distant traffic, and general neighborhood life filled the air. It was a symphony of ordinary life, transformed into something extraordinary. Their story, the story of a single dad and his son, of baseball cards and unexpected fame, had become a testament to the enduring power of connection, the unwavering spirit of family, and the magic that can happen when you simply put yourself out there, open to the possibilities. And in that moment, Leo knew their story was far from over. It was just entering its next exciting chapter. The offer was monumental. It meant a move to New York City, a significant jump in responsibility and visibility, and a full-time commitment to sports spectacle beyond his digital contributions. It was a terrifying, exhilarating proposition. He discussed it at length with Alex, who, despite the prospect of leaving his friends, was incredibly supportive. "Dad, this is your dream. We can visit our friends, and I can meet more baseball legends in New York." After much deliberation, and with Sarah's encouragement, Leo accepted the offer. It was a leap of faith, a continuation of the unexpected journey that had begun with a handful of baseball cards. They packed up their home, said heartfelt goodbyes to their friends and neighbors on Elm Street, and embarked on their new adventure. The Diamond Insights podcast quickly became a sensation. The dynamic between Leo and David Hayes was compelling. David, the seasoned journalist with a keen analytical mind, and Leo, the passionate historian and relatable storyteller. Their discussions were insightful, entertaining, and always infused with their shared love for baseball. The podcast attracted millions of listeners, cementing Leo's status as a leading voice in sports media. Life in New York City was a whirlwind. Leo thrived in the fast-paced environment, contributing to more articles, appearing on television panels, and immersing himself in the vibrant sports culture of the city. Alex adjusted remarkably well, making new friends, exploring the city's museums, and, of course, visiting Yankee Stadium as often as possible. Sarah, having also moved to New York, found a fulfilling position at a local art museum, and their relationship deepened, building towards a future that felt bright and full of promise. One warm summer evening, Leo and Alex sat in their spacious new apartment, overlooking the glittering Manhattan skyline. Alex was meticulously arranging his prized baseball card collection, now housed in custom-made display cases. Leo was reviewing notes for an upcoming podcast episode. "Dad," Alex said, looking up from his cards, "remember when we first started selling cards? Just for my shoes?" Leo chuckled. A fond memory. "How could I forget, buddy? Best $10 we ever made." "Yeah," Alex agreed, a thoughtful look on his face. Who knew that one man, just buying a few cards, could change everything? Leo smiled, looking at his son, then at the panoramic view of the city, a testament to their incredible journey. He thought about the small, unassuming card table, the hot sun, and the quiet desperation. He remembered the unexpected kindness of David Hayes, the man who saw beyond the simple transaction, who recognized the spark of passion and the power of a good story. Their lives were now filled with opportunities and successes he could never have dreamed of. But at the heart of it all remained the fundamental truth of their beginning. A single dad and his son, connected by their shared love for baseball, facing challenges head-on and finding their way forward, one baseball card at a time. It was a reminder that sometimes the greatest treasures aren't found in a vault, but in the most unexpected of places, revealed by the most unlikely of encounters. And that the simple act of pursuing a shared passion, even out of necessity, can open doors to a future far grander than any dream. A mentor's wisdom and new challenges, Leo's new role as senior correspondent at Sports Spectacle, brought a fresh wave of excitement and responsibility. He was now a key voice in the magazine, contributing major feature articles that delved into the heart of baseball's biggest stories, from in-depth player profiles to investigative pieces on the evolving dynamics of the sport. His ability to blend analytical insight with compelling narrative made his articles stand out, quickly earning him a reputation for nuanced and thought-provoking journalism. His television appearances on the network's flagship shows further elevated his profile, making him a recognizable face and a respected voice in the national sports conversation. David Hayes, his co-host on Diamond Insights, remained a steadfast mentor and friend. Their shared bond, forged over that initial conversation at the card table, only deepened with their professional collaboration. David, with his years of experience in the industry, offered invaluable advice on navigating the complexities of media, handling public scrutiny, and maintaining journalistic integrity. He taught Leo the importance of fact-checking every detail, of understanding the subtle power of words, and of always prioritizing the story's truth over personal bias. "Remember, Leo," David would often say during their brainstorming sessions, "our job isn't just to report, it's to illuminate, to show people the game they love from a perspective they might not have considered. And that requires both passion and relentless precision." These were not just professional lessons for Leo, but life lessons. He found himself applying the same meticulous attention to detail and a commitment to authenticity in all areas of his life. He became more deliberate in his communication, more thoughtful in his decision-making, and more grounded in his priorities. However, the increased demands of his career also brought new challenges. Travel became more frequent, requiring him to spend time away from Alex and Sarah. He was often on the road, covering major events or interviewing players across the country. Managing his schedule, balancing deadlines with family time, became a constant balancing act. Alex, now a teenager, was understanding and supportive, but Leo felt the pang of missing everyday moments. Sarah, with her incredible patience and organizational skills, became an even more crucial partner in managing their household and ensuring Alex felt loved and supported during Leo's absences. Video calls became a daily ritual, a lifeline connecting them across distances. One particularly demanding period involved a multi-week assignment covering the World Series, requiring Leo to be away for almost a month. While it was a career highlight, the separation weighed heavily on him. He missed Alex's evening recaps of his school day, Sarah's calming presence, and the simple rhythm of their New York life. Upon his return, he made a conscious decision to reevaluate his workload. He discussed it with David, who, understanding the importance of family, helped him strategize ways to optimize his schedule, delegate certain tasks, and prioritize commitments that aligned most closely with his personal values. Leo realized that true success wasn't just about professional achievement. It was about creating a life that was balanced, fulfilling, and rich with the connections that truly mattered. Alex's own diamond journey as Leo's career soared. Alex, too, continued his own journey into the world of sports. He excelled in his youth baseball league, showcasing a natural talent for pitching, a subtle curveball that baffled opposing batters. He wasn't just an athlete, though his keen analytical mind, inherited from Leo, allowed him to understand the game beyond just hitting and fielding. He could break down plays, analyze player tendencies, and discuss strategy with a maturity beyond his years. His interest in baseball cards also deepened. He started attending major card shows with Leo, not just as a casual observer, but as a knowledgeable collector, engaging in serious discussions with veteran dealers. He discovered a particular fascination with pre-war baseball cards, drawn to their historical significance and the stories they held from a bygone era of the sport. He began a meticulous project, researching and documenting the history of baseball through these antique cards, a project that deeply impressed Leo and David. Alex even began contributing short-written pieces to Sports Spectacle's online youth section, offering his unique perspective on emerging young players and the evolving culture of card collecting. His writing, direct and passionate, quickly garnered attention, proving that the apple truly hadn't fallen far from the tree. It was clear he was carving out his own path, fueled by a shared passion but distinct in his approach. Sarah, observing Alex's developing talent for combining historical research with creative expression, encouraged him to explore digital media. She helped him set up his own YouTube channel, Alex's Archives, where he would present his research on vintage cards, discuss their historical context, and share his insights into the game. The channel quickly gained a dedicated following, particularly among younger collectors, who appreciated his fresh take on baseball history. Leo watched Alex's growing independence and success with immense pride. He was not just his son, but his colleague, his intellectual sparring partner, and his greatest source of inspiration. Their roles sometimes blurred, with Alex offering insights that Leo would incorporate into his own articles or podcast discussions. It was a dynamic, evolving relationship, built on mutual respect and a shared love for the game. The unforgettable induction years later, the call came that changed everything once more, not just for Leo, but for the legacy of their story. Leo received an official invitation to be inducted into the National Sports Media Hall of Fame. It was an astonishing honor, a recognition of his profound impact on sports journalism and his unique trajectory from an unlikely beginning. The ceremony was held in a grand hall, filled with the luminaries of the sports world, legendary athletes, renowned journalists, and influential figures. Alex, now a confident young man in college, sat in the front row with Sarah, his eyes shining with unbridled pride. When Leo stepped onto the stage, the roar of applause was deafening. He looked out at the sea of faces, and then, his gaze landed on a familiar figure in the audience, David Hayes, beaming, a heartfelt smile on his face. David had flown in just for this, a testament to their enduring friendship and mentorship. Leo began his acceptance speech, his voice clear and resonating with emotion. He spoke about his journey, about the humble beginnings at a rickety card table, about the desperate need for new shoes, and about the unexpected encounter that had set his life on a trajectory he could never have imagined. He spoke about the power of passion, the importance of family, and the profound impact of kindness from a stranger. "I stand here today," Leo said, his voice catching slightly. Not just as Leo Ramirez, but as a testament to the belief that every story has value, every passion deserves a voice, and every person, regardless of their circumstances, holds untold potential. This honor isn't PMAR. Just for me. It's for my son, Alex, whose love for the game ignited this journey. It's for my incredible wife, Sarah, whose unwavering support has been my bedrock. And it's for David Hayes, who saw a story where no one else was looking, and gave a struggling single dad a chance to share his heart with the world. He gestured to Alex in the audience. And to my son, Alex, who reminds me every day that the soul of the game isn't just found in statistics or championships, but in the pure, unadulterated joy of shared passion. Your journey is just beginning, buddy, and I can't wait to see where your diamond dust takes you. The audience rose in a standing ovation, moved by his genuine words and remarkable story. It was a full-circle moment, an affirmation of every struggle, every dream, and every unexpected blessing that had led him to that stage. The continuing legacy years continued to unfold, each bringing new experiences and deepening the legacy of the card table. Leo continued to thrive as a senior correspondent, becoming a respected voice for multiple generations of sports fans. His articles often explored the human element of baseball, delving into the personal stories behind the statistics, reminding readers that behind every heroic play or devastating loss were real people with their own journeys. He eventually became a managing editor at Sports Spectacle, guiding new talent and shaping the editorial direction of the publication that had once given him his unlikely start. Alex graduated college with honors. Alex's Archives YouTube channel boasting hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and his expertise in vintage cards sought after by collectors worldwide. He decided to combine his love for baseball, history, and media by pursuing a career in sports documentary filmmaking, specializing in untold stories from baseball's past, often featuring his father as interviewee or narrator. Their collaborative projects were highly anticipated, seamlessly blending Leo's storytelling prowess with Alex's visual creativity. The foundation in Maria's name continued its vital work, expanding its reach to provide scholarships for children from single-parent homes pursuing higher education or vocational training, ensuring that more young people had access to the opportunities that Leo and Alex had so serendipitously found. David Hayes, a few years after Leo's induction, retired from Sports Spectacle, but their friendship remained strong. They continued their Diamond Insights podcast, recording it from their respective home studios, their camaraderie and shared passion undiminished. It became a cherished pastime, a way to stay connected and continue their shared love affair with baseball. One warm summer evening, Leo sat on the porch of his home, watching the sunset paint the sky in hues of orange and purple. Alex, now in his late 20s, was visiting, a comfortable silence settling between them as they watched the last light fade. "Dad," Alex finally said, breaking the silence, "you know, sometimes I look back at that day, at the card table, and it feels like a lifetime ago, like it was someone else's story." Leo smiled, a knowing glint in his eye. "It was our story, buddy, just the beginning of it. And the amazing thing about stories is, they keep going. They evolve, they surprise you, and they connect you to things you never even knew were possible." He thought about the thread of fate that had woven through their lives, from a simple need for school shoes to a national platform. It was a powerful reminder that destiny often wears the disguise of everyday moments, and that sometimes the greatest leaps forward begin with the smallest, most unassuming steps. The diamond dust, truly, had settled not just on their cards, but on their lives, transforming them in ways no one, least of all a single dad and his son, could have ever predicted. Their story wasn't just about baseball. It was about the endless possibilities that lay hidden in plain sight, waiting for the right moment and the right heart to uncover them.